What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to SharkNation Live. This is episode 74. Jason, how's it going, my man?
Doing awesome, brother. Good things happening. Lots of stuff going on today. I'm fired up. I got
Heck yeah, man.
investing in some multifamily stuff, out of state. First time doing that, which is pretty exciting. 24 unit. Pumped about that. I got 5 new agents in our boot camp onboarding, so we just got done with that. That's good. Yep. So the team is growing nicely. We have the most pending that we have ever had as a team right now, which is good in a shitty market. And tonight we're gonna have some pizza, dude. Pumped up. We're having our call blitz, so pumped up on the pizza night tonight. I gotta eat light today so I can stick to my diet goals for my 75 hard. 1 week left.
How many pending?
20 pending.
20. You're beating me.
Yeah.
He's beating me, guys. I gotta get
Might
more.
be 18. I just had 2 fall through.
Better be 18.
What do you
Can't put that much of a lead. I think we're at like 14, I think, right now.
Well, second place is the first loser. What do you want?
Let's look at volume.
That's true. Yeah, your volume crushes ours.
That's not fair because I moved to Florida.
I know.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, it's good. I mean, we're in a season of uncertainty, and there's 2 teams with, between the 2 of us, 34 deals under contract. So things still move even when they're uncertain, whenever people are uncertain. So, well, let's talk about who actually moves the shit, right? So we wanted to talk about, and I'm going to blow it because I've pulled up YouTube videos beforehand, and there's 2 pronunciations of this. I don't care, but the Pareto Principle, I don't know, whatever way, but basically the 80-20 rule. What? We lost you, not me. I'm here.
I see you. We're going in and out. We have a glitch in the matrix.
It's you. It's all you.
Could you see me now?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
Yeah.
Good.
Start over. Pareto Principle.
Yes.
You know what's so funny? We were talking about it yesterday. I'm like, let's talk about it on the show because I was just reading a book, and I've heard this principle so many times. So a little background on it. Vilfredo Pareto, Italiano. He came up. He was an economist in Italy. Back in the early 1900s, and he came out with this principle by noticing that, Austin up in the hizzle. What up, Austin? We'll have to have him on the show. That's speaking of big dog team leaders out there. Get Austin on the show for sure. He noticed as an economist that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the people, right? And then he started noticing the same kind of principle in nature. So he goes out into his garden and he noticed that 20% of the pea pods produced 80% of the peas. And it's just like one of those natural laws that exist where, 20% of society comes, like, not going to get political, but 20% of our society pays 80% of the taxes.
Well, and I love, so Suneet Agarwal coaches me. He brought this up early on, I think first week, and I equate it to sports, and it's funny because you can literally go look at the NBA, the NHL, the NFL, and basically 20% or less of the top 10 or 20% are producing 50% of the points. And then I always like to tell people, because I think this is where really hits home. It's like if you took like a 4th grade class or like a school class, right? And you took a group of, let's just do 10, so math is simple, and you did like a little trivia game, right? 2 of your people in that group are gonna be responsible for the half the answers, Yep. So you're seeing it in all these areas, which makes that this is not just it's a law. It's like a law of nature. It's a code in the matrix.
Yeah, think about the sports teams that are successful. 20% of the teams probably win 80% of the championships, right? Think about it. You think that your team has a shot. I'm a Viking fan. I know we have no shot. I still have hope.
But it's coded out of the matrix.
They're the they're in the minority. They're not. They just can't do it. But think about the teams that win. You know, you have
Steelers.
your Steelers, you have the Chiefs. It's all the same teams, right? 20% of the teams winning all the championships. So, how do we want to tie that into business? I mean, you were kind of taking a look at it from a team level perspective yesterday. And it's like 20% of the agents have 80% of the volume of our teams.
Yeah, well, it also sucks because like, my wife will always tell me I believe in everybody, and like it's not like, and don't look at this rule as like we're out here like, you're the 80%, you suck, or like, choose. You can choose. But like, are you doing the activities that the 20% of the top percent doing? Or are you doing the activities that the majority, that the 80%, that, and I love, this is great. I love when Hermosi talks about negative thinking. Like, so, all right, let's say you're on this and you're like, well, I don't want to be that 80% Chad. I want to be the top 20% of the agents, right? So think about all the things you would do to not be successful. Like, I would not follow a schedule. I would not call leads. I would not further my skills in education and show up in trainings.
Not
I
follow up.
would not follow up with leads. I would not post on social media. I would be a secret agent. I would want no one to know I'm in real estate, right? The list goes, because we're better at thinking negatively because of our survival skills, right? Like,
Yeah.
right. So if you list that all, you'll find majority of those traits are what the 80% do.
So, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and reading a lot of books on this. Charlie Munger talks about it as thinking inverted. If you want to solve a problem, think of all the things that you would do to have that problem, right? Just like you said, if you want to, solve world hunger or starving in Egypt, what would you do to make that worse? And then all you have to do is do the opposite of all that stuff. Like you're saying, as for us and real estate agents and team leads, if I don't want to be a successful agent, what are some of the things that I would want to do? I would not want to answer my phone. I wouldn't follow up with the people that talk to me. I wouldn't learn anything new, and I wouldn't post on social media, and I wouldn't tell anybody, what I'm doing, and I'd be a secret agent. So all you really have to do to get in that 20%, like you're saying, it's a mindset shift and it's a focus shift, right? Just do the things that you know that you need to do it, but a lot of people won't do it.
And then there's the other layer of this where it's the, I feel like you can just go 80-20, 80-20, 80-20 in everything you talk about.
I
But
know.
like
It's freaking me out,
80%, and it is. It really is. It's like, where you like we're we were watching an episode.
We're going on a tangent.
Well, we were watching an episode of Black Mirror last night on Netflix. Have you ever watched that? Have I ever asked you that?
I haven't gotten into it. I think we started it and then I forgot. I think we were going to start it during COVID and we just never got a chance to start. But then there was like 10 seasons and I'm into like this whole time commit thing. I look at how many episodes there are. If it's over like 40, I'm like, I'm not
Well,
starting.
each episode is a unique, like, self-contained episode, which is it's like an
Yeah.
anthology series, which is a cool thing. But the point is this it's a wild series. But this guy had to take acid to be able to understand this computer program thing. That we'll just leave it at that. So he had taken it, and he's on this train because he had to go somewhere while he's on acid, and everywhere all the writing started saying they know that like he's on it, and it just makes me think like with the 80-20 rule, it's like 80-20, it's like you're seeing it everywhere. I don't know, but whatever that is. So back to the point. 80% of what you do in a day doesn't probably move the needle, and this one sucks because this is the one that you and I
Mm.
probably sit a lot in.
This one hurts
When
a
you're in
lot,
the
right? When you think about it, this one really is a kick in the gut, punch in the gut.
Yeah, because, well, especially when you start to like, you and I, we have family, we have kids, and we start to think like, wow, you're telling me 80% of the time that I spend is kind of pointless. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't actually
Yes.
move us further.
Yeah,
Um,
we like to call
so
it like dollar producing activities. What 20% of your day produces the most amount of money? And then get rid of all that other 80% fluff and focus on what moves the needle in your business. Like you could say, if you want
yeah,
to kind
it's
of break
probably
it
not
down,
your emails.
No,
It's
it's
probably
not
not your
checking your
emails.
emails. It's not watching YouTube. It's funny because, I was doing my one-on-one coaching calls with Rick on the team, and we talked about like, oh, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know, and I'm like, what are you doing in your day? Let's break it down. And I had him bring up his phone, and if you have iPhone, you can look at something called screen time, and it'll tell you exactly what you're focusing on every day. We brought it up, and he had like
Yeah.
9 hours a week or whatever on social media apps, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube was like over an hour a day. It's like, dude, there's your whole day right there. I'm like, delete them. He's like, delete all the apps right now. I'm like, delete them. And he's like, you could see him start shaking, especially younger people with social media. He's like, but he did it, and it freed up so much more of his time. And then now he could focus on, like you said, those dollar generating activities where it's like, okay, this is the stuff that moves the needle. And just for people that are kind of like, oh, I don't want to do that. After he did it, it was freedom because he had the discipline to get rid of it. And then he was so happy that he did it, and now it just opened up other avenues for things that he could do to drive his business and not get distracted. Because your attention span is only so much. And if you're constantly distracted with notifications and all that kind of bullshit, you're not going to be able to focus on something long enough to move the needle in that activity, or you're not paying attention to retain it enough in order to understand it and then, you know, start using it in your business. So distractions are a big no-no, man. It's just it's a time killer, and it's a production killer.
It's such a subtlety, and it sounds simple, and everybody listening here, oh, I get that, but like go look at you, go inspect your week and what you're consuming and what you're watching and what's notifying you, like what's going off, and like, and these watches are one of the worst things because they vibrate if you have the
I had to get
haptics
rid of
on,
it,
and
dude.
every
I had to
time a
get rid of it.
notification.
Yeah,
Oh, I
I
just
don't
turn
even
that
have.
off.
No, I went old school because I can't have it. It was fucking pinging all the time, this and that. I'm like, am I
Yeah,
having a
you
heart
gotta turn
attack?
that off.
I got a
You
text
turn that
message.
off.
What's going on?
But to your point, I had an agent, and it was getting hard to not balance, but to be present in the personal life. And I said, and it's perfect. Let's tie this in, right? You talk about looking at screen time and finding that hour, that 9 hours, or this or that. I said, take 1 hour. I told her, I
Yeah,
said, take 1 hour and commit to learning. She has an iPhone. Commit to learning focus modes. Go pull up YouTube. Like, you're not happy with where your presence in your personal life? Okay, take an hour and learn the focus modes on your iPhone. For those that don't know, iPhones, they have do not disturb, but they also have, you can create different modes like work, personal. Like, so I have, for example, here's my modes. I have do not disturb, I have sleep, I have work, I have personal, and I have family. Those are my modes. So you can turn off apps and people from notifying you in each setting. Yes, I had to take an hour of my life out to set that up. I did, but now I can turn on family mode. Only my wife and my kids can ping through on that. Only them. Personal mode. Only my wife, my kids, my family, my friends can ping through on that. Work. Only my wife can ping through on personal side, and then just work. But you got to have those. You've got to have those, and do not disturb for when I'm in this right now. Like, how can I plug in and be on a live podcast and be focused if like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you've got to have
man.
those, dialed in, or just shut your phone off.
Yeah. So I'm a simple guy, so I just put it on focus mode and do not disturb. And then I'll just let everything add up. And then, like you said, if you time block your day efficiently, then when you're on, you're on. Turn it back on, reconnect with everything that you need to follow back up with, and then shut it off so you can focus on the activity at hand. Like I said, once you get to a certain point and you're so busy, you need to be able to concentrate for long periods of time and be focused. Like, how am I going to train? Like today, we had our boot camp. 3 hours of training on from lead generation all the way up through showings on properties, and it's like, how are you going to focus on that if every 2 seconds I'm fucking looking at my phone or whatever for distractions? You can't, right? So couple hacks. I shut off, I minimize all the volume on my phone all the time. I don't want any ringers or bing 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 bing, all that. You could go into your notifications on your phone and disable all those. Any new app, what they want is they're trying to get your attention. There's a reason they want you on the app as long as possible. It's a social cue. It's all in the algorithms based on keeping you actively entertained and on their app as long as possible for advertising dollars. So get off every notification that anything that you download, no notifications on it. Anything that you sometimes when they do updates, they'll automatically turn all the notifications on and all that kind of stuff. Then you have to shut them all back off. Turn every notification on. Another one, I haven't done this, but you could invert the color of your screen to like black and white, so then that way it's not as
Grayscale. Yeah.
grayscale mode.
Sunit will say that all the time. And that's such a big one that actually my wife has started doing a lot is grayscale. And then one other pro tip on that I want to give is if you can change the colors of your app icons on iPhone now. This is about a year or two ago they put it in, but you can, if you change the color of them to white, it looks grayscale on your home screen. It's not grayscale though. When you go into the app, you still get the colors, you know. So, but at least the app's not calling you to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's one other pro tip. But grayscale is a big one, man. That's a good one.
Yeah, everything is trying to vie for your attention, and the more scattered your attention is, the less you can focus on something and move the needle on what you're supposed to be doing. I always say take a break an hour during the day, and shut the phone off, or get away from it and just kind of go for a walk or do something productive, or put it in focus mode if you want to track your steps and all that kind of crap or whatever. And then when you go to bed, like I'll have my phone like downstairs on the hook on the charger. I don't want it right next to me because what are you going to do? You're going to pick it up. Turn off all that stuff. That'll definitely improve your life.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And and I come back to, like, so I was just doing an info session on our team, and I had some people looking at getting into real estate on there, and I told them, I think everybody gets into this business for one or two buckets, time freedom or financial freedom. But I think those actually, like, so cool, you got two buckets, but I actually think you could equate them to one, which is control. We want control over our schedule and control over our financial picture. So what choices are you making to have that control? And this is a great example of that. Like, are you in control of your day? Like, are you want to get from A to B, and you say you'll do everything it takes to get there, yet you're letting all these people get their to-do list on you, and you're doing, whether it's personal or in your email or in these random calls or these telemarketers, right? You're letting their day enter yours, and they're controlling your day. So, you've got to get control. You've got to get control of your own space.
For sure. The time thieves are going to come out and they're going to grab you. So circle back to Pareto Principle, right? What are the 20% of the activities that are going to move 80% of your business, right? For real estate agents, it's prospecting and follow-up. So every day, time block that and do it in the morning. 9 to 10 prospecting, talking to somebody new. 10 to 11 follow-up, everybody that you spoke to the previous day. Own that time and keep it as sacred as you can. Because here's what's going to happen. When do you have a doctor's appointment? When's it going to go in there? Right? You're going to put it into your prospecting or follow-up time. When do you have an inspection? When do people want to show houses? All that kind of stuff. You got to own that time, because as soon as you try to, keep it sacred, people are going to try to be time thieves and come in and take it. And if you don't own that time, then people are taking away your most dollar productive activity. And then say, okay, you went on the inspection and the thing turned out to be a piece of crap, and then the deal falls through. Now you wasted all that prospecting time you had and the time that you took driving to the place, going to the inspection, then driving back. It's all wasted time. If you don't own that time, somebody's going to steal it from you. So block it off. And so many times we get so upset and we get in our own heads where it's like, well, Chad wants to see this house at 10. Hey, Chad, you know what? I have a meeting from 9 to 11. I can show it to you at 11:30. Does that work for you? Most likely, if he's open at 10, he's going to be open at 11:30. Now that doesn't work. What about the afternoon, or how about tomorrow at 11:30? I have
and if all fails, do it and shift your, keep your, just adjust. Don't go to that. Like, exhaust all resources first. But if you've got to put it in that block, okay, then if you should have an appointment block, for me, I try to keep mine 2 to 5, and if they're at night, then I adjust my night schedule in there, right? If they're in the morning for some reason they got to be, then I adjust that prospecting to 2 to 5, right? It's you can adjust, you can still make it happen, but that doesn't give you an excuse to just default to, yes, sure, 10's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because for one, you're giving yourself an out, and it makes your day easier because now you don't have to do the harder work that moves the needle, right? And then you can just say, oh, well, I had that. And what happens is, and I just did an email post on this. It's the biggest mistake real estate agents can make is not prospecting when things are going well. You get a
Yeah.
couple deals under contract and you think everything's awesome or whatever, and you're freaking cashing commission checks, and you look like you have your pet peacock, and you're walking down the street like a baller. And then what happens? The house inspection's terrible. That deal falls through. Oh, the house doesn't appraise. That deal falls through. Oh, by the way, my buyer got caught smoking pot a day before closing, got fired. Now he can't qualify for the loan, and now that deal falls through. All three of those things happen to me. So never count your commission until you close. But the biggest, most important lesson of that is, if I wasn't prospecting through all that stuff, all those deals I'd have no money from those deals. Plus, I'd have to start all the way at the drawing board trying to find new business to replace that. If I consistently did that, I'm not as worried if stuff falls through because I know I consistently have stuff in my pipeline.
But Jason, I care about my clients and they need to have excellent service. And I'm a human and I don't, I'm not some sales nut and blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the thing, because this is what I get. I've gotten this a lot. Don't you think you'd be better servicing your clients if your cup was full, if you weren't worried about what your bank account looked like? Don't you think it'd be easier? So it's in your client's best interest for you to have a full cup. And hey, I don't know. Sometimes real estate agents gotta, give a little here and there to make deals go, right? Isn't it a lot easier when you have 5 or 6 deals under contract as opposed to one? So, now, and of course, block out 1 to 2 is my time to save deals, or block that out. Keep your service a focus, right? But don't use it as an excuse to not like,
Like our guy John says, hunt in the morning, eat in the afternoon, right? So you want to do all your dollar generating activities and even do your self care stuff. Think about this, and I've been doing this with 75 hard, on day 66 or 7 or whatever it is now. Every morning, getting up super early, getting the workout in, reading 10 pages, getting my mentals all good in the morning, like all that stuff before the day even starts, man. How's my day going to be if I already have all these wins under my belt? And I'm in a good mood to prospect because I feel better because I'm eating right and exercising, right? It there's a reason, and people see that there's a trajectory in my business and my health and fitness. Well, let's plug Alec and Shannon. They got the free Zoom this weekend. We'll put it in the
yeah, I'll find
in
it.
the notes or whatnot. But if your health and fitness matters more than you think about your mindset, about how you feel, because if you feel shitty and you feel lousy, how is that going to translate to your clients when you're dealing with them? So being in a good mood, being fit, and all that kind of stuff, it's moved the needle in my business. I wish I did it fucking 20 years ago.
Yeah, no, 100%. I got that rolling up there. It's just chepfit.com,
Yeah,
CHEPFIT.com.
register for their free Zoom. They're going to give you a ton of good nuggets on there. If you want one-on-one attention with these guys, I'm looking to, even take my fitness to a next level with those guys coming up. But it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see the trajectory of my health and fitness, but my business as well, corresponding with that.
100%. 100%. So what's going on with the team? What's new?
So, kind of one of the things that we're doing for fun, right? Because, sometimes in our business, it kind of gets a little stagnant and you're just doing, like John calls it, eating rocks, doing the same thing over and over and over. Doing what's boring is the stuff that moves the needle, right? So we have a little sales contest this week or this month for the team. If they have over so many 2-minute conversations, we're doing some bonuses for that. We're also doing tonight, 5 to 7, open to all agents. We're doing a pizza night. So our call blitz, we're going to all get together, have some pizzas, chill. It's open to all agents. We have thousands of leads. What you close, you get to keep. We'll do a little bit referral agreement, but if you're looking to grow your business or anything like that, we're going to have a call night blitz. And also just doing some team building stuff. My coach, Matt, I was on my coaching call this morning with him. I'm going to actually have him coming in and talking to the team on the 29th for our team meeting. So super pumped up about that. And then May 6th, all the agents on the team that went through all our online training, we have buyer training, seller training, contract training, all that kind of stuff, software training. Everybody that completed that, we're going to Dave and Buster's. So drinks, food, games, all on me. We're just going to have some fun that night. And we're going to have you that night. I also roped you into doing some fun stuff that day, too.
Is that the May 6th, though? Is that the
That's
one?
the May 6th. We're going to the board, baby. Going to the board. Why don't you talk about that and how that's moved the needle for you and your business and explain to everybody kind of what that's all about?
Yeah, go to the board is an exercise from John Cheplack, and it's basically an accountability exercise, but it's also it's super powerful. It's hard to explain to people, but it's setting goals and what you're going to do to get the goals, but it's also what's going to change as a result. And so, yeah, it's an exercise of accountability and all this stuff and goal setting and blah, blah, blah. But really what it is a way for me as a team leader is for me to get to know what's truly driving my team members. Like what, because real estate's not who we are. It's what we do to experience who we are. So it's super important to know what they're here to do, what's going to actually change as a result of the goal. Because that helps you push through the hard days. What's going to change on the other side of this unit goal or this income goal, right? And it's funny. I think like there's so many little frameworks that we use, whether it's even for our buyers. Like we have a top 5 that we use. So I just had a buyer on Saturday I sat down with, and I said, all right, we have a saying around here that accountability is the highest form of love somebody can show you. And to that point, we like to get your top 5. What's the top 5 things you need in this home? If it checks this boxes, you're probably going to make a move on it. And we do it. And what's interesting is like, you have this, you have to go to the board, you have all these things. And it's like, what comes out in the framework, right? It's like hockey or football, right? There's like a framework of rules, right? But the action that comes out is what's so interesting inside the box. And like, so what makes Go to the Board special is the human beings that fill it. And when done properly, it's just a super personal, super powerful, super moving exercise.
Get the tissues out. It gets a little emotional.
It happens.
Yeah. And like
it happens, but that's why we're here.
Real estate's what we do, not why we do it. When I started out the boot camp, I kind of told my story to the team and what's important to me and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, real estate's a vehicle to drive to be able to do the things in life that I want to do, and it's an amazing thing. You have time freedom, you have freedom of unlimited income potential, and you determine your own fate. You don't have to worry about working at a corporate job forever and, they get rid of you because you're a line item on a spreadsheet. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful business.
It is, and it's such a people business. I mean, like that's one of the things, I can get in my head a lot and you try to, outsmart everything. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot playing in this between this 6 inches between my ears sometimes. But the one thing I'll say is, have all the unique selling propositions and all this stuff. Like, you start to just realize, like, it's just a lot of times, why do people choose like me as a real estate agent, as a buyer and listing agent? I've been really dissecting that a lot lately. And it's like, it's a freaking vibe. It's just like, did you get along? Is there confidence in it? Are you going to give them a good experience through the journey? Is I someone they can count on? Would I be a good friend? Like, and that's what I'm really, really focused on with our team right now is like, view everything you do, every phone call, text, email, podcast, in the lens of, would I do this with my best friend? Funny enough, Jason, you're absolutely one of my best friends, so doing it with one here. So it's a cheat code. Just do it with your best friend. But you get what I'm saying. Like, think about that call you had yesterday with a lead. Did you talk to them in a way that you would talk to your friend? Like, yeah. And that's like, there's some light bulbs have gone off for some agents on our team with that. Is like, like we've even role played and I have them say something. I say, stop that last sentence. Would you say that to your friend? Right? Your friend wants to buy a home in this community, and you say what you just said. Is that how you'd say it? No, I'd say it this way. Okay. Like, it's, because, then you get the, oh, well, about professionalism and blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't know about.
We're all human. I just had that same conversation today when we are going through leads and follow up and communication. It's, make a friend, make a sale. All we're doing is trying to genuinely help people and meet them where they're at. It's one of the biggest financial decisions somebody's going to have. We let them be the hero on their journey. We're just the guide.
Well, business isn't personal is a bunch of BS.
Yeah,
we're all human beings. Literally, business was created by human beings. So it's like, but I get real passionate about that one. But, because and I've had it happen once or twice, like I've sent an emoji to a lead and they're like, oh my gosh, I would never work with somebody that uses an emoji in a text message. I'm like, okay, then I am definitely not for you.
Yeah.
Save me a lot of pain.
I just, let me see if I can find it. Because some people said that today, and then I showed them the memoji. So I said, send it to them. If somebody's not responding or whatever, it's fun. I don't know if I can play it.
Like the video?
Like Jason and the Scranton Wilkes-Barre say we're looking for houses online. What's the best way to communicate with you? Do you want me to call you, text you? Right.
Dude, that's so funny. Like, so years ago, you probably have seen these videos, but years ago, I created a kind of just actually an automated campaign, like a drip campaign with timelines based on different phases of the deal. Yeah, it was supposed to educate people on, like, this is the inspection process, this is what to expect, this is the appraisal process. And I don't even know where I got the idea, but I did it with a memoji or whatever. This is probably back 2018 or so, maybe. And Brittany, my wife, was like, what the hell is this? Like, just use your face. But, like, everybody loved them. This little, like, talking head. Actually, we got to bring that back, man. What am I doing?
The emoji's awesome. I love using it. You see my bald head pound, and the crazy part, like the AI, like checks your eyes and moves your eyes and how you're talking. It like follows your whole mannerisms. It's cool.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
Welcome back to Apple. So you have it now again. You missed it with all that Google crap that you had.
Yeah. I think that's a good. Yeah. You start searching for answers and you think technology is the answer. And I'll tell you, like, I've had one of everything and I ended up back where I started. 2 years ago, I had a MacBook and iPhone. I had an iPad, but I didn't even use it a ton. But I had a MacBook and an iPhone. I went through Windows, Android, all kinds of different little things, tablets, non-tablets, and ended up back with a MacBook and with an iPhone. Doesn't mean that Apple's the best. You can pick your lane. I'm not saying, like, oh, it just means you have to have an iPhone and a MacBook, but I'm just saying, like, be looking for all these other tech solutions. Granted, I had a little bit of a reason why we left Apple at the time was because our kids' family account got hacked and it was a bunch of BS. It was a wild story. But having ended up back on Apple, it's I will say, for anybody looking, the new MacBook Airs are wicked fast. Just unreal.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So what are you doing with your team for fun?
For fun?
Or
selling houses, Jason? What the?
Flipping houses.
For fun? No, honestly, right now I'd say the most fun. I mean, we do things there. Now we did the fellow listing challenge last month. We're due for an in-person event, and that'll probably be what we'll be doing coming up in May. But right now, I'd say we have a real good thing going with our daily huddle. We have such a good, such a good consistent. I don't know. I think we're really building that culture through that daily 8:30 show up and just in it together. So our fun right now is coming from just like linking arms and going to war together,
So did you do the 30 listings in 30 days? I'm holding you accountable. No, how many did you get?
I never.
And even if you don't get it, the nice part about those challenges, and some people are like, oh, I only got, it's like, even if you got like half of that and then you got 15 listing appointments, how much is that going to move the needle in your business?
Yeah, I think ours was more, I think I had more like 10 and I think I landed like 6 or 7 of them. So it was still good. What's that?
Did you win any of that free cash, the fellow cash that they were giving out?
Nope.
No.
Nope. I think it. Again, we have a really good thing going with our daily huddle, and I think that fellow stuff is a bit of overwhelm. Like back to another one of John's points, the two biggest reasons people don't take action are fear and overwhelm, and I think a little bit of that extra because we have a lot that we provide on our team and with Reside. There's a lot coming at them, and you throw this whole other thing at them, and it threw a couple agents into overwhelm, and they froze a little bit. And I noticed that about halfway through the challenge, so we crawled back into a little bit of what we regularly do, like you know. And that could be seen for like maybe you're up in your fitness or maybe you're up in your call. Well, I don't know if I want to say calls, but maybe you up stuff too fast. You know what I mean? Like, and you ratchet it up, and I'm just like gonna go from not working out to 2 a days out of nowhere, right? Like, you're probably gonna get overwhelmed and just blow it up and quit. And that's something I noticed. So we kind of pulled back into, instead of quitting, let's pull back into the bare minimum. Let's meet in the huddles 8:30. Let's come into our weekly training,
Well, I don't
and
think it's
stuff like
bare
that.
minimal. I think it's simple beats the complex. So when you're talking about, kind of bringing it back, and I think it's just sticking to the simple principles and not making it so much overwhelming. You know, on my coaching call today, we're just talking about the same thing. It's like, what do agents always say that they want to do when they come on board? Make 100 grand. Well, that could seem overwhelming. What about just adding one more deal to your pipeline? Wouldn't that be helpful? And then consistently doing stuff to improve on that. You know, if you're going from one deal a year to one deal a month, that's a big jump for a lot of agents. 87% of the agents fail out of this business, right? They don't need 100K. They're worried about their first deal. How do we get them there? And then how do we get them consistently making one deal a month so they could turn this from, a side hustle or whatever to a career where they could jump from the job that they don't like to the freedom of a real estate professional?
Yep. Little bits at a time, a little bit more each week. And, that 1% better every day mentality is really, really the key. And then, as you'll often remind me, like zoom out, like look at where you were 3 months ago, look at where you were six, look at, a year, like, and I often, don't stay in that space because you can get stuck in that space too, where you're just sitting over there in like gratitude zone and you never actually go continue to have things to be grateful for that you've changed. But, it's definitely important to do.
Well, we talk about this in full disclosure. We're both kind of in the messy middle, and some days are better than others. And some days we're like, you want to blow the whole fucking thing up and just be like, fuck, I quit. This is ridiculous. And then it's like, okay, well, take back and start smelling the roses because look where you are now from where you were, right? Think of all the things that you did do, right? So even with the newer agents, I have the same conversation with them. Think about where you were last year at this time. You didn't have your license. You didn't take the exam. You didn't get on board it, and you didn't even know how to do some of the activities it takes, right? So celebrate those small wins, especially in an industry like we have. 30 days from when you get something under contract to close a cash deal around here. 45 to 60, anything with a loan. I mean, obviously you could shrink that, but just as a general time frame, we don't get paid for a long amount of time, and it feels like you're not getting anything because all we do is focus on the end result, and we don't focus on all the things that are positive to get there. And you don't see all the progress that you made with every other client that you have. We only think, oh, I only got one deal this month, but your pipeline's full. So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And as long as you consistently do those daily activities, you're going to have full pipelines.
And don't quit too soon. I've seen it so often. We had a team member years ago close to me, and he did about 2 months in the business and then just was done. And just like, nope, I'm out. I'm like, are you sure? Like, is anything, maybe like try, like do this. Nope, done. Just
Not for
cold turkey.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the other team members, I'm like, do you want anything? Like, what if we convert these leads? He's like, no, I don't care. I'm out. I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm like, okay. So one of our team members actually ended up getting 8 sales directly that he had spoken with during that first 2 months period. Like, it was tracked. It was there. I got receipts, and he saw him at event like personally we had later. It was like, should I go over and say like thank you? I'm like, just no, just don't
Yeah.
even, like, it's gonna
That
piss him off.
60 days that you just left on the table?
Yeah, I mean I've seen it so many times, and or maybe I'm just insane. Like I think about me, like maybe I'm just insane. I just keep going. Like the shark is the wrong animal for this. It should be a turtle. Just be a
Yeah,
freaking turtle. Just
yeah.
turtle on. That's forget the shark. The real envy is the turtle.
Turtle Nation. I
Ninja
like
Turtle Nation.
it.
Uh, we'll
Nice.
go from the shark copyright to the Mutant Ninja Turtle copyright, right?
I like it. I like it.
um,
Well, next
cool,
week
man.
we got a good one. It's a big
Yeah,
one.
finishing up your commitments. You didn't quit
No,
yet.
I wanted to
You got a
quit.
little time left.
I could quit today. I'm
You
ready.
better not. I'm sure someone has. Oh, wouldn't that be the worst freaking thing? Like you're
Dude,
at
I
day
saw that
73
somebody closed on 65. Somebody quit on day 65.
of 75 hard.
Yeah,
Really?
I can see why. I mean, like I said, it doesn't get easier. That,
Yeah,
you
those
know,
last. It's like when.
well,
like
here's the thing. Everybody that I talked to that did it, it's like, oh man, once you get to 20 to 30, they're like the worst times. Then you talk to somebody else, like, wait till you get to 40 to 50. Those are like the hardest. And it's like, oh, you're at 60. Oh, that's like the worst time. It's like, I'm like, have like all this anxiety. I'm like, does this hurt? It's like you start getting paranoid on stuff. Like you don't want to get like calluses on your feet or blisters on your feet because then you can't do your workouts. I'm like super paranoid on just like completing right now. I'm in coast mode. I just want to pass.
lock in. Yeah,
Yeah,
lock in and just tune
do
it
the
out.
work and pass it. Yep, for sure.
That's good. That's good, man. Well,
All right, there, Pareto. Till next time.
thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you for a big one next week, number 75. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.